Welcome to Create a Wow Life. My name is Jessica Peterson. I am a real estate agent out in beautiful sunny Florida and the founder of Simply Wow Agency. I am excited to go ahead and reveal to you different ways you can wow people, your business, and you. Definitely, many of you have wowed me. If I can connect you with the right people, resources, house, or business, let me know. Are you ready to create a wow life? Don't forget to subscribe, click on the bell for notifications. Let's go. Hello everyone, Jessica Peterson here with Create a Wow Life. I always say it's simple, wow people, your business, and you. I'm a real estate agent out in beautiful sunny Florida, servicing the Sarasota area. So is Micah here. Micah, you're the managing director over Oxygen Financial, where you guys say breathe easier, right?
That's our tagline. And ultimately how fitting it is with the current, economic environment we're in today. It seems like everyone's kind of having to pivot a little bit with their businesses. We speak to a lot of business owners, we speak to a lot of individuals, and everyone's kind of having to reinvent themselves with the current conditions.
Absolutely, and I really like your tagline, what's keeping you up at night? What's the most common things you hear what's keeping people up at night? I know I have a popular question we're going to address, but share with us, what are some of the most popular questions that people have?
Oh, believe it or not, it's amazing how many people are kind of putting their life on hold because of the election, not knowing what direction they want to go with their businesses. And of course, COVID-19 is a big issue too, that is putting a lot of questions on the future with people's finances, with investments they want to make in their businesses. So I'd say the two biggest things right now, maybe the obvious, would be COVID-19 and the election.
Okay, so with COVID-19, I believe that this is going to change our future. I mean, if it's not one virus, we've always seen over in history, it repeats itself. So what advice do you have for people who have that as a concern in investing?
I would just say, embrace it, right? Clearly, you've seen the technology companies can endure. Not only can they endure, but they can thrive. And so this virtual world that we're in, this really is the way of the future. Right. If you think about your business, I know we actually are more productive today than we were when we were doing face-to-face meetings. I no longer have the drive time. I no longer have to get on airplanes. I don't have to have nearly as many in-person meetings, which required me to be, in different places, different times of the week. So we're much more efficient as a team. And as a matter of fact, I have found that, utilizing Zoom or whatever web system you're using, even as a team, we're able to kind of collectively be more of a think tank and attack projects together. So I personally have found that we have become more productive. And so I think as individuals, as investors, we just are going to have to embrace this new way of doing business. And it looks like this is going to be with us for some time now, right? Even if they do find a vaccine, only with the flu and different ones, they're only 50% effective, right? So we're still going to be dealing with this for months to come.
Yeah, absolutely. Always adapting to new. I mean, even real estate, it's been so exciting. I got certified. I'm the only one in the area so far by We Live Clean standards. So it's always evolving, always changing. It's really exciting, and that's probably a lot about the market. You and I briefly had a conversation about one of my favorite books. It's by Tony Robbins called Unshakable. It's about really exposing a lot about the financial industry. So share with us some good news about Oxygen Financial.
Well, basically, Oxygen Financial is a fiduciary, and let me kind of put it in terms that we all relate to. Now, you go to Costco, right, Jessica? You've been there before, I'm sure, right down the road from your house, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you go there, you've got a couple different brand options, and then you notice you got the Kirkland brand.
Yeah.
We all know that's Costco, right?
Yes.
It's no different than the financial service industry. A lot of the big financial service firms, they have their own Kirkland brand, right? And so essentially when you're working with some of the bigger organizations, they have an incentive to utilize the products that they design, because ultimately if you're building it in-house, they get to keep more of the revenue. So a fiduciary, on the other hand, does not create products, right? We do not receive any type of compensation from any product that we create. We are a financial planning firm, so our fees come from, number one, creating a financial plan, or number two, managing the assets. So we bring in the categories of investments that we feel are the best of class for our portfolios, not because a wholesaler is paying for shelf space to be a part of our firm. So we don't accept any money from wholesalers or any of the investment firms. And essentially that's powerful and unique in the industry. So we're an independent and fiduciary firm.
That's amazing. And statistically, I think only under 3% of financial planners or firms are based upon that relationship. Is that correct, Micah?
Well, you think about the big firms, they represent the majority of, financial advisors out there. So yeah, it's a realistic number to think that majority of the firms are kind of in that more. I mean, there's only two ways to make money in this industry. You either have to create products, right? Or you manage the assets. And so we don't create the products, we just focus on managing the assets or doing the financial planning. So, but the majority of the revenue seems to come in the form of product creation. But the good news is with our industry, we recently had something called Reg BI, which is at least kind of creating a more transparency for the consumer. It's something that we've embraced, really since the beginning. But ultimately now, even the big firms have to kind of disclose the relationships that they have with some of the other investment firms. So that is good news for our industry.
So, okay, so let's have a conversation today about a really hot, popular subject. I've actually just encountered it with a customer myself, and I'm not a financial advisor. I'm glad you're here. Your information will be here and I'll have you go ahead and give a shout out. Anyone can reach out to you. I focus on real estate. I'm grateful for people like you to focus on the financial arena. So popular questions are right now, for first-time home buyers. My 401k, first-time home buyer, should I be utilizing that? Another one is people who may not be a first-time home buyer, should I be using my 401k to buy a house? And another third question is people want to know about withdrawing from their 401k for a home purchase. So it all seems like really common theme. What and how should we be using our 401k to purchase a home? I'm guessing it probably depends on each scenario and the type of 401k. There's probably so many different factors. So you're the expert here, Micah. Share with us.
Okay. So yeah, good question, Jessica. Really, you're right. Every situation is different. So let's focus in on really the two categories that you mentioned there. You have essentially money that's in your employer-sponsored plan, which is a 401k. You have options within that 401k, but by mandate, you cannot actually take money from a plan that you're participating in, take money from that plan and invest it directly into real estate. There are some rules against doing that. So we're talking first about your actual employer-sponsored 401k that you're actively involved in. Now, what you can do, depending on your age, some they have in-service distributions. If you're still employed, you can actually do an in-service distribution and move that money to a self-directed IRA. And the key word is self-directed. So IRA stands for individual retirement account. You can move the funds from the 401k into the individual self-directed IRA, and then you can actually purchase real estate inside of that and still continue to take advantage of the tax deferral nature of an individual retirement account. So that's if you have an existing 401k that you're currently participating in. Option two is you can usually, if you check with your administrative department, usually you can take a loan, a provisional loan from your 401k if you're still employed. Ultimately, you wouldn't be able to take advantage of the tax deferral nature of the money, but you can actually have access to that money, and usually it's up to about $50,000. The next point I'm going to make is this is a unique scenario right now, is because of what's happening with the COVID-19, Congress passed the CARES Act. The CARES Act actually allows you to take $100,000 out of your 401k or your individual IRA, and you have up to 6 months to either put that money back, or you can keep that money and pay the income taxes over a 3-year period, right? So this is unique. This is purely because of what's taken place with the coronavirus, and it's a part of the CARES Act. Now the downside would be you'd have to pay the income taxes over the next 3 years. if you choose to keep that money. So that's another option. So we've talked about in-service distributions inside of a 401k. We've talked about rolling it into an IRA. Okay, so let's just assume that you decide to roll the money over into an IRA. What would that look like? Well, first you want to verify that your custodian, the custodian of your IRA, meaning the person who does the organization that does the paperwork for your IRA, that they actually allow you to hold real estate as an investment inside that individual retirement account. Now, frankly, many of the IRA custodians out there do not allow that because of the paperwork nightmare that it truly is. But if you identify that yours does, and there are plenty that do, then you can in fact purchase real estate inside of your IRA. So to be clear, you can purchase real estate inside of your IRA, but there are some caveats that we have to talk about. Number one, if you want to take advantage of the tax deferred nature of an IRA, meaning you don't have to pay the income taxes on the money that's inside this IRA when you purchase the real estate, it has to fall under a couple of stipulations. Number one, it can't be your personal residence, right? You cannot live and occupy the property.
Really?
It actually needs to be an investment property, right?
Okay.
Secondly, and here's the big one, it cannot be managed by you. So you would need to be you would need to hire a real estate management company for the most part to manage this money that goes inside of an IRA, if you want to maintain the tax advantage nature of the IRA. So that you would have to have the real estate agency or real estate management company, collect your rent and actively manage the property. And so the key when you go that route is you really want to monitor the cash flow, because obviously the reason you're using this money is inside of an IRA, if it's not your individual home, is because you want to get cash flow. You want to see a return on your investment. So the numbers all have to work together, meaning the property that you purchase has to generate enough cash flow to be able to support the property. So you can't take money that's not in your IRA and cover the expenses for the real estate that you're purchasing inside the IRA. So you can't commingle money. It all has to be the IRA money that supports the real estate that you put inside your IRA. So I know that was a lot, but it is not just as simple as going out and buying a piece of investment property with your IRA assets. So any questions on that, Jessica?
Absolutely. Okay. So what about people who want to have it as their primary? Is there any options of any sort of IRAs that they can use?
Yeah. So the option would be, number one, this year you could take advantage of the CARES Act. If you in some way have been impacted, which most of us have, by the coronavirus, then you can take up to $100,000 out of your individual IRA account or your 401k account, and you can use those funds to do the things that you need to do. Now, the flip side to that, Jessica, is that you will have to pay the income taxes on that money over the next 3 years, right? Or let's say you pull that money out, you have up to 6 months to put that money back in if you do not want to be taxed on it.
Got it. Wow. Okay. This was so helpful. How can anyone go ahead and reach out to you, Micah, if they have any questions?
Well, check us out. You can go to either srqmoney.com or you can go to our website, oxygenfinancial.com, and send me an email, or, that's probably the easiest way to get in touch with us is the website.
Awesome. Well, I'm really happy and grateful that you're here serving our community, Sarasota, your valuable wisdom, insight. Don't forget, everyone, to click on subscribe, click on that bell, and wow, everyone, tell your friends about us. Have an amazing wow day. Bye, everyone.